All right, well, let's get this started. And today on the Hockey Podcast, we have the great pleasure of welcoming Matt Meacham. Matt, welcome.
It's good to be here. It's great to be back in the North Country to see some familiar faces and with you a familiar voice.
Well, thank you. And of course, joining us via the telephone is Coach Mo, Mark Morris.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for doing this.
Well, we understand that you're busy, and I know Matt's here with the family reunion and everything. So let's get started and let's go back. Let's go back in the past and talk about growing up and what it was like growing up in Massena, Matt.
I have nothing but fond memories. I always tell people I was fortunate enough to grow up in an athletic family. There was a lot of competitiveness in those four walls. With my mom and my dad both playing sports growing up, and my brother and my sister both multi-sport athletes. So definitely have fond memories of sports and classmates and just a lot of fun. So it's nice to come back for a reunion every year just to kind of to see a lot of people. So
Well, it was. I had the pleasure of knowing your dad very, very well. And of course, when you and your older brother played hockey for Massena, I got to call your names both a lot for different reasons.
yeah.
But, Chris was just a terrific guy, terrific athlete, but also a wonderful human being and fun to spend time with. And I always look forward to seeing him both before the game and after the game. And of course, your mom, she was a tremendous athlete as well. And
Sure.
Amy as well. And I get to see your brother frequently whenever Massena plays Malone
Yeah.
and other times as well. So, you had a great life growing up, I'm sure. Let's talk hockey. How'd you get into it?
Uh, I think if I had to start, I think it starts right at Massena Arena. I think when I learned how to skate, I was in preschool. I did morning classes. My dad would pick me up, and I would go to noon public skate at Massena Arena. He would put my skates on. He'd bring a pail. I remember him bringing a pail and flipping it upside down, and that was kind of like my walker. There's kind of these walkers that now they're a little more advanced, but I remember he'd flip over that pail and I would sit there, and for an hour I would just sit there and go circles around the rink. So
Apparently it worked.
yeah.
How'd you decide to become a goaltender?
Well, there's a couple different stories there. So my brother, he kind of paved the path of me. Whatever he was doing, I kind of wanted to do. And so when he went out and played with his friends, he was nice enough to let me go. And with my dad, if we're playing floor hockey or street hockey, there always seemed to be one rule when it came to hockey. If I wanted to play, I had to play goalie. And so I just wanted to play. So I would sit there and put some pads on and go out there, and so that's kind of where it started. And then mites, I was playing, and mites is a time where you rotate. Everyone plays goalie
Right.
Every other week and stuff. So it just so happened I played the last week, and I still remember this. Jerry Sidden was the coach, and he came in. He said, "Guys, whoever it was their turn. They weren't going to be in town, or they didn't want to do it." And he was like, "Anyone want to raise their hand and do it again?" And Jerry tells the story better than I do, but I raised my hand. He's like, "No, not you. You can score. We need you." And I think
that was always the conundrum.
Yeah.
Usually the best athlete was also the best goaltender and the best scorer.
Right. And so again, he would tell the story better than I did, but I think our team was Schwartz. We're playing Klopman's. There's like two furniture stores, right? Yeah. And so they were stacked. I think they had the Wickup boys, and so like I played, and you would think there was a good story about how I was all over the place and I got a shutout, but I think the story goes that it was 12-1 at the end, and I was at the short end of that one. And so I came off the ice, and I remember my mom, she came to me and she's like, "Hey, that's fine. You did your best." And like she always did. And she said, "You next week and go back out scoring." I'm like, "Are you kidding, Ma? I had fun." And so that was the last time I ever played forward. I was a goalie ever since then. So,
Well, that's a great story, and I know you played with some really great minor hockey teams. Any specific memories, things that really stick out of your minor hockey career?
minor hockey career is, I mean, it's a little bit of a blur. I remember my first year of Pee Wee, and I did not make the A team. I got cut, and that was kind of like the first time I ever got cut in my life. And I remember going out the side of the Massena arena and crying on the outside. And I was a little kid, but I ended up playing Pee Wee B, and actually it was the best time I ever had. My uncle Mike was the coach, and we played all over the state, and I had a lot of playing time. We did have another goalie, but I played most of the games, and that's kind of how I learned. I knew I had to get better, and I just made sure that year I had fun. And then when the tryouts came next year, I was going to be at a spot where there was just no way I wasn't going to make the team. And so I think that's probably my fondest memory. I'm sure there was other ones of road trips and tournaments and floor hockey in the hotel hallways that we always got in trouble with. But I think that's the one that pops up the most.
And maybe the parents had some fun on those road trips
They
as well.
might have had more fun than we did.
Coach Morris, you can pop in anytime here, pal.
Oh, I'd love to. Growing up on West Hatfield, I saw a lot of the Kingstons and a lot of Buckeye minor sports were played in the backyards, and fist fights and everything else that happened down in that end of town. But I have a connection, obviously, with your dad. We were the quarterbacks for the high school football team back in the. Chris was a punter, and I always wanted to be the punter, but he could launch it pretty good. And we played Little League together and against one another. He always had a curveball that could drop off the table, and we were classmates, so we stayed in touch quite a bit. And having grown up in that end of town, the high school field was close by, and so the guy that I probably crossed paths with most was your Uncle George. And he was a little bit older than I was, but those are my memories of your parents and your mom being a great athlete too. So to see you doing so well, obviously, brings a lot of pride to all of us.
Indeed.
And, to see the accomplishments and the things that you've done, it's quite incredible. And it's oftentimes the guys behind the scenes that are doing all the hard work. And as I refer to it in the coaching business, oftentimes we're like the mechanics in the back room. We're not getting those big bonuses, but we know what makes the engine run.
Well, you did get to bring the Stanley Cup to Massena.
I did, yes. That was something special.
Before we get to that, though, let's talk about high school.
High school, I remember my freshman year, I tried out for the varsity team. I did not make it. That was my brother's senior year, and that was a little bit special for me to maybe try to his last season be a part of that. But I was asked to be on the practice squad, so I got to be there every day at practice and kind of learn from at the time I think it was Nat Smythe and Zach Long were the coach the goalies there. Right. So just to be able to hop in and kind of see talk to them about it, to see the shots that were coming in, and my brother took some liberties making sure a lot of pucks went high, but I was used to it, so I kind of knew where his spots were.
Any specific games or even seasons that stick in your mind as far as high school is concerned?
I think sophomore year, I think I split time. I think where I really started to go was my junior year. We had a lot of seniors that year. I think I feel like you called them water bugs or something. Tad Angstrom,
Oh yeah.
Paul Rochefort. There was Mankeys, Rabidou. The back end, I feel Big Dave Park. Dave Park was back there.
Yeah, he was one tall son of a gun, wasn't he?
Ian Francia, Steve Smith, Brian Carroll, I think were kind of those guys back there, and so that's when I started to play a little bit more. I think sophomore year again, I was splitting time, what really stood out to me was we would have a holiday tournament right before Christmas, and we played Rochester Aquinas, and we played in the championship that was Saratoga.
Yes.
And first night got a shutout, and then I think the unwritten rule was in those tournaments you would split. The other goalie would play, and I remember Coach Latham coming to me after Friday night's game and said, "Hey, you're in again." And so went back out. I don't know if it was 3 or 4-0. We ended up beating Saratoga in the championship. I think I don't know if it was all tournament team or MVP, but I think that was the turning point for me. I feel like that's where I got more confidence. I think the coaching staff got more confidence in me, and a lot of it was my defense. I mean, it's kind of cliche or whatever, but like you say, the reach of Park and a lot
What
of those
about
guys.
Smith? Did you ever see a kid that could hand out a heavier check than Steve Smith?
Him, and I mean even Ian Francis. I remember he wasn't the biggest guy, but I mean he wasn't afraid to lay the body out too. So when a shutout is there, it's not necessarily an individual stat. It's definitely a team thing, but that kind of gave me confidence. And just like anybody, the more confidence you get, I mean you start to get on a roll. So
what are your thoughts on the high school hockey experience at Massena?
I like it. It's interesting being out in the Chicago area. Like high school hockey isn't like what I grew up in. And to be honest with you, I haven't really been following along back
Right.
home. But like my experience, it was great. It was competitive. Uh, the arena that I love playing in the most was my home rink.
Yeah.
Like if you were to ask me that question, I wouldn't hesitate. It was nice to go into other barns. Like I don't know about Pine Street. That was really cold. I remember that. But going into Canton, going into the Dome in Ogdensburg and beating those guys and having the fans being the goalie, you're enemy number one, it seems, in enemy territories. But
so you didn't mind getting hassled a little by the fans?
I'm trying to think of what my dad used to say, but like they don't heckle nobodies. So
like that. That's a good line. So the high school experience was great. After high school, what was the decision-making process for you?
So I honestly had no idea what to do when it came to college. My parents were always about athletics, academics first. Athletics was definitely part of the DNA, but it was always like, okay, what are you doing academically? And I think I don't even remember where I applied. I remember I got a full academic scholarship to Niagara, but I think at the time they had 3 freshman goalies or two freshmen, 1 sophomore, and I think I wanted to go to school, but I wanted to play. Yeah. And so I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, and I ended up talking to I ended up going to Bridgeton Academy up in Maine. And so in the last 2 years before my senior year, Jeff Slack, I think, went there for lacrosse. Matt Rabidou went there, I think, also for lacrosse, but I think he played hockey as well. And it was just kind of a post-grad 13 year that you just kind of went and played. And so it was all boys school. There was no distractions. And I think that was good for me. I think it was another year of growing as a person, as an athlete. I think while I was there, Holy Cross really wanted me to come. The Brown coach was looking at me. I reached out to you, Mark. I don't know if you remember this, just not necessarily looking for a shot, but just your thoughts on maybe what avenue I should go. And I ended up right around Christmas time. We were playing Cushing Academy. It was Chris Bork. He was coming down on a break. It was kind of a race to the puck. I ended up with a separated shoulder, and so I was out for a while. Kind of things started to go downhill there. Kind of the calls from coaches started to slow up, and so I didn't really know exactly then. I was getting at the end of the year, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and so I ended up going to Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs, and it's more of an artsy school, but never visited the place at all. Just my advisor at the time said, you know, I know people there. It's good fix. It's closer to home than Maine and stuff. So I'm like, you know, I'll just give it a shot, and showed up, and you know, I met a lot of people, had a lot of friends, and after my sophomore year, getting in my sophomore year, they came out and said they were thinking about getting rid of the program, the hockey program, and so that was another shot in the arm, and I was like, you know what, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I need to find something else, and find a place that I can just play and have fun, and it ended up being SUNY Cortland.
Yes.
And that's where I spent the last couple of years of my college career, and it was the right call. It's something about when you get on a campus, it just feels right. It feels at home, and I maybe I should have went there right out of school or right out of high school, but things happen for a reason, I think, and maybe the trip that I took was a roundabout way, but I think it ended up.
Well, maybe you didn't start in the right place, but you finished in the right place.
Right.
Yeah. So after college, and I think let's Coach Mo step in here. Coach.
No, I vaguely remember. There's been a few people before and after, and one year seems to run into the next when I think back of, you know, the vintage of all the guys that, but obviously knowing your family, you know, when your name came to the fore, that obviously I was taking notice and wanted to make sure that we gave every guy from the North Country a real good, honest look. And it's unfortunate that, you know, for us that maybe you could have been the next Chris Bernard and stepped in and wowed the North Country. But, you know, awfully tough in the goaltender position when there's only one that can stand in the pipes, and you'd like to see everybody get that opportunity, but sometimes it's just not in the cards. But, you know, when I look at the pedigree of all the Cortland grads that have really, you know, come to the fore as well, obviously they've done a lot of good things down there. And, you know, seeing Derek Malone now with the Habs, you know, that makes us all proud too.
Oh, I was hoping you'd work that in.
Well,
so now, Coach, you ran into my guest here a little further on down the road at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Just to let the listening audience realize, you know, here I am. I'm coaching in Manchester, and you know, we're playing the Binghamton Senators, and here you are, Matt. You're the video coach, and we're in the playoffs. I think it was 2011.
Yep.
I tried to look it up, but we had those guys down 3-1.
We had to change goalies. Yeah.
We had Bud Holloway, our top goal scorer, take a penalty shot that would have ended the series and won it for Manchester. I recall Barry Brust was the starting goalie for the first few games, and then they brought in Robin Lehner, who stoned us from that point on, and we ended up losing to you guys. And thank God you won the whole thing, because that was a tough pill to swallow. And it was a heck of a series. And when I looked at the roster earlier today, I thought, wow, guys like Mark Stone, and there's a number of NHLers that you guys developed, and that it's great to see, and know that you've been part of a lot of young guys' lives, and without the detail and the things that you bring in those early hours before practice, in the middle of the night, and every other time that you're breaking down the details of the game and helping their careers grow, and they're making millions. And unless you sat there and tried to prepare the way that guys that are in your coaching position as a video coach, you can't fully appreciate how that resonates with the rest of the team. And I'm just so proud of what I've seen and the results that you've had and the success you've had.
How did you end up in Binghamton?
So I was going back, ending my college hockey career. I ended up playing down in the Southern Professional League.
Right.
This is something that my mom did not want me to do. She was this goes back to academics. She's like, she didn't want me. I didn't finish my degree yet. I still had a semester left, and so she's like, I don't want you to go play pro hockey. Like, you need to finish your degree. And so I made a promise. I'm like, you know what, I will still graduate before Amy. And so we were three years apart. So I was like, I promise. So I went and played 2 years. I was down in Jacksonville for about a year and a half. I came up and played in the United Hockey League with the Elmira Jackals for a little bit, but ended up coming back, finishing my degree, and
fulfilling the promise.
I think, to be honest, I graduated the day before my sister. She went to Ithaca College, so it was kind of a weekend thing. My mom and dad came down from Massena for Cortland and Ithaca, so I fulfilled the promise.
That was pretty convenient, actually.
Yes. And so, where are we going with this?
Well, beginning up.
Oh, yes. So I finished all my classes, but I needed to do an internship, and it just happened that my advisor reached out to me and said the pro team down the road is looking for someone to come and teach the coaching staff this new video analysis system. And I was going for sport management. That was my degree. Okay. And one of my classes was digital video analysis. It was more for football at the time, but I was just going to go down there and kind of give them the ins and outs, the X's and O's of it. And so I go down there and I walk into the coach's office, and I'm sure Mark will understand this, but I walk in and there's so many VCRs and VHS tapes all over the place. I looked and I'm like, oh my God. Like I had there was like a graveyard of video. And so they're like, they gave me a laptop. They showed it like, here, the Ottawa sent this down, and this is kind of how we're supposed to do video now. And so they're like, so I kind of showed them. They're like, well, how does this get on these VHS tapes? And I'm like, no, everything's here. We transfer everything onto everyone's computer, and so they're kind of, they didn't really understand. They're older coaching staff, and they're like, you know what? Can you do like an internship or something? And so like the second half of the year, I sat there and I coded all the home games, and they came in and they thought it was great. They could see every face-off. They could see every shot, chance, you name it. Everything was broken down into little videos that they could put meetings together. And from there, at the end of the season, I was approached by Ottawa's GM and said, hey, like, is this something that you kind of want to do for a living? We'll like to keep you around a couple years. And at that time, I think the NHL was starting to get video coaches. AHL, this was probably back in 2006, 7-ish. And like there wasn't a lot that I knew that of teams that had video coaches. So like, it was nice for me. I say I'm fortunate most of my life that I kind of through hard work, but like I was in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how that job started.
Wow. That's the, how long were you with Binghamton?
6 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 6 years. And then just so happened, hockey's a small world. There was a goalie coach in Ottawa at the time that he got word that Chicago was looking to make a change with their video coach position, and he worked for that staff in a previous organization. He's like, "Hey, I think you'd be great for the job." Put my name in, and then maybe a couple of weeks later, I got a call. Hey, you're meeting Joel Quinville in Saratoga Springs. Again, going back to Saratoga Springs, if you know Joel at all, he's a big horse guy, and so he was there with the horses. I met him, and I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, wife now, you know what, this is just going to be a good foot in the door, like a good interview, kind of just see what I need to work on and not getting my hopes up. And so met him, and it just felt like we knew each other for years, me and Joel. And so I left that and I came home. I'm like, what do you think about Chicago? Because this might be a chance. And so it did. A couple of weeks after that, I got a call and we're packing our bags. We're moving from Binghamton after 6 years and headed to Chicago. And I just finished my 13th year.
Wow. That's really incredible. It really is. Congratulations on that. And I know there have been a lot of highlights, but the Stanley Cups had to be some pretty big highlights.
Yeah. I think Mark talks about the 2011 and he can't feel bad because Robin stoned them, but I mean he was great the rest of the way. I think we played Portland after that, beat them in 5 or 6. We swept Charlotte, and then we ended up beating Houston for the Calder Cup,
right,
in 11, and that was the year that Lindsay and I got married, and so we had the Calder Cup at my wedding, which was great. And and at that time I was thinking that might have been the pinnacle of my career, and then things kept going, and I ended up in Chicago. And when I got there, they were already rolling. They already had 2 cups and a veteran team, and it was crazy. I mean, obviously Joel is a great hockey mind, but it was like it was a team that almost ran itself at times. They knew how to win, and it was amazing to see like how these guys gelled together. And at that time they were my age, the guys that were playing, and now 13 years later, that just means I'm older. And now
it happens, right, Coach?
But the cup runs were great. Obviously, it was a high, and now through the rebuild, I've kind of seen everything. And now we're on our way up, and but you never forget those times, and being able to bring the cup back 28 years after I started skating in the same building, and having thousands of people come and witness it. That it still brings chills to me just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the personal invite from your parents, and I was in awe. I mean, I just I've been a hockey announcer most of my life, but never played the game. But still, it was so great to see it here in Massena. So thanks for that, Coach. I want to give him back to his family. Any final questions or thoughts?
As I follow from afar, I was just curious. A lot of times they turn those meetings over to the players, the assistant coaches. But I was curious if you were able to run those meetings, or if they do it with the bench coaches, or do they just give you the opportunity to tell them what you saw, or do you just pick it apart and hand them all the juicy parts?
So I think that's the fun thing about my job. It's ever changing. I think when I first got into it, like I described in Binghamton, I was just cutting video. When I got to Chicago, Joel, he knew what he wanted. He just kind of wrote it down on paper of what clips he wanted, or what he wanted to say, or drawings on it. And then as coaching staff change, as I got more comfortable, I got more and more involved. The coaches challenge came in years ago, and so now that's something that I'm in charge of. I'm in the back looking at every different angle, seeing if there's an offside, a stoppage of play, a goalie interference. But like specifically you talking about meetings, I've gone from just simply putting video together to now I'm running the meetings. Obviously the assistant coaches, they have their power play meetings, their penalty kill meetings, but especially with this staff now with Jeff Blashill, I got more work on my plate of what does our team need, so I have more of a voice now, and like I said, that it's just something year after year. I never get bored. You say it's long hours, and it is, but it's, there's only 31 other guys that do what I do, and so I'm fortunate to be one of those guys, and be in the professional sports, especially professional hockey. And so long hours, but it's ever changing. I think analytics has come into it, and so like I have to dabble into that, and I always rely on the eye test of what do I see, and then kind of looking at the analytics. If that jives, then that's something that I bring into my meeting. And if it's not, then I go back and I watch. I'm like, am I seeing something that's not there, or whatever? But I think next in line, I think virtual reality, I think AI, I think all this stuff it's just going to keep evolving the game, and I think it's going to keep evolving my position as well.
Wow. How about shootouts? Like you get to know tendencies, and now there's so much access, but that has to be a gold mine too. If a guy's got a specific move he likes to go to, and how much of that are you able to do?
Yeah, we work with the goalie coaches a lot, both ways, with our goalies on other team shooters, and with our shooters, the other team's goalies. We're always you're always trying to find an edge, and that kind of goes with the long hours. With all the analytics and stats, it's a lot. You have a lot of information, but you're trying to weed through what is going to help your team the best, and so we definitely we work with our face-off coach about maybe something centers do differently that we can exploit. So we definitely don't leave any stone unturned, and anything to get the W at the end of the day.
Yeah, if I've learned anything, especially in the pro game, and that is the smartest coaches seem to be the guys that are able to take the complex and turn it into something simple, so that it becomes a mindset of the group. And you guys are tremendous at that. I worked with a lot of guys, but when I didn't have somebody, in Charlotte, Jordy Kinnear and I we were the guys doing it, and that's why I have so much respect for the job that you're doing, the job you've done. And when I think about, would Patrick King be the player he is? All those great players that you were able to coach, and Taves, and those teams you built. If you falter, or you make a bad read, or maybe you don't accentuate the right thing, maybe they don't have the same success and become the all-stars and the prominent players that they are. So hats off to you.
I appreciate the kind words, and that's the thing with players over the years. They want more information. They want their shifts. They want video of things that are different angles, and with the guys that you named, the Tays, the Kane, the Hosas, like that, anything that they came to me and said, hey, can I get this? It was like, I don't care what time of day, night, like you want to make sure they have everything they need, because they are definitely game changers, and they definitely make you look good.
It's well deserved.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was going to say all the accolades are well deserved, and when you're in the shadows and your passion shines through in other ways, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. One more question for you. Prospects for this coming season. What do you think?
I think, like I said, we're on our way up. Bedard just signed. He believes in what the organization is doing. Everyone's trying to add those veteran guys. Nobody's giving players away, so we have a lot of prospects, a lot of young guys that are stepping up and getting a chance, and it's only a matter of time before the Blackhawks are in that picture again.
Well, good. And again, I want to thank you for coming out today. I know you're in the middle of the family reunion, and you're here in Massena. We're glad you're here. Please say hello to your lovely wife. And of course, I know your in-laws too, yes, and your mom, and the rest of the family. Is the big bird up there too, the big cat, as we used to call him?
He made a visit last night. He has he has a son that is he's actually playing with Matt Reed's.
That would be Merrick.
Yeah, he's going to be down in Boston. He was down in Boston last week. He's headed back down again this week. So he's going to Cushing. Merrick is going to Cushing Academy, and so it was nice to see him, Eric, and the family. And
yes. Well, again, thank you. Coach Mo, thanks for calling in too.
My pleasure, and best of luck this year. This is tremendous for our efforts to identify people that have really impacted Massena in many ways, and to have you join just adds more credibility to our efforts to make sure we keep digging up bones and bringing you guys back and telling your story.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the time. Like I said, I always like coming back to Massena, seeing familiar faces. So
been a pleasure. We've been speaking with Massena native and the Chicago Blackhawks video coach, Matt Meacham, and Coach Mark Morris. I'm Jerry Manor.